Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Surfside Recovery Podcast. My name is Brian Licata, and we just wanted to let you guys know that if you or anyone is struggling with addiction, to please reach out to Surfside. You can give us a call at 609-709-4205 or visit us at surfside.org and all of our social media platforms.
All right, and we are rolling. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Surfside Recovery Podcast. My name is Brian Licata, alongside or across from Mr. Ian Koch. And our guest today, Michael K. Can I say your last name?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, it's Michael Kelly. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Kelly. Woo! Michael is a Surfside alumni, and he is currently working in the addiction treatment industry. But I called him yesterday because I wanted to get a guest and an alumni on the show to kind of talk about what's going on in their life today. So we brought Mike out. So welcome to the show. You want to introduce yourself? Say hi to everyone.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mike Kelly. I'm a Surfside alumni.
What's up, Mike?
Hi, Mike.
And Mike, you also currently are working for Enlightened in their admissions department.
I am.
And so for those who don't know, Enlightened Solutions is a partial care program as well as a detox and intensive outpatient down in this area. What exactly is your role as like an admissions? Is it admissions counselor, admissions coordinator? What's the
Coordinator?
title? Coordinator. So what exactly do you do for them?
So I am essentially part of a team that's the front line. So when people are struggling, they call into me, or they call in and they don't know that they're getting me. And they sort of give me a brief synopsis of what's been going on. And we sort of try and take as much off their plate as possible so that they can focus on just getting into treatment.
Sure.
So that goes from anything from like coordinating transportation, checking their insurance, things like that, because it is a private insurance facility.
Sure.
But we do a fair amount of scholarships as well. But also, it's
So you
cool.
basically, do you have a Nirvana shirt on?
I do.
That's awesome. You basically eliminate the barriers of entry. That's ideally your job. Is like
100%.
Help them understand, right? Because I'm sure they call you and, well, I've got to cut the grass on Saturday, so can I come on Monday? Or I'm waiting for the Comcast bill to pay, and I really, it might come next week.
I've heard every excuse under the sun. So one person said, I have a diabetic cat, so I can't.
Yep, because they got to stay home and feed the cat. So that's good. So, and the reason I ask these questions is, what's interesting is that, so many people identify when they go to treatment, and as someone who's a counselor, I would assume I would like to get all the credit, right? Like I'm the counselor, so I'm the most profound guy, but it's actually very rarely the case that the counselor is the one, right? It's usually going to be, the guy who gets them in the door. It's going to be the tech. It's going to be, somebody else who said that one little thing to help them get into treatment and help to open the door. And so I think it's cool that so many people, when they go to treatment, and I'm sure, Brian was the same and you were the same, like you talk to those people and you never meet them. You never get to see them. You never meet them. But ultimately they're like spending hour after hour listening to your nonsense, to help you get in the door.
Yeah, that's funny you put it like that. Like I never really thought about it like that. But, thinking back to a couple different places I've been to, the staff that I always got the closest to were the people who were outside, like during smoke break time. Like those are those techs that I talked to the most, like the guys who, would watch over us in the smoke hut. And, thinking about it, I mean, I guess that's when I felt most casual. And those are the guys who were up to and relate to more. And then the overnight guys too, because they were there like later in the day.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Sweet.
So how are you, Mike? How's your like role changed now versus what it was like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago? Like, what do you guys doing?
Excuse me, I'm sorry. So obviously we're taking like every precaution when it comes to COVID-19. Screening our medical, crew. Not only do we screen them for questions upon like during their pre-screen, but before they walk in the door, they're take their temperature, ask them other additional questions, our nursing staff and things like that.
Right.
And as well as we take into account like where people are coming from, where they're traveling, where they're going to really interact with. I think like, and I think that the addiction industry has actually handled it fairly well. Obviously there's a risk component to it without a doubt, but as far as adapting on the fly, I think if anyone's best suited, it's people who came from backgrounds like we did, because this is sort of unprecedented in a lot of ways. Like
it's an operational nightmare.
100%. It definitely is, and like I'm getting updates, and everything is so fluid. Everything's changing hour by hour. But I'm essentially running everything by like my direct supervisor as well as all the higher ups in order to make sure that we're not putting anyone at risk, but we're also still able to provide people the help they're looking for.
Sure. Yeah, it's crazy because, I mean, not only are we dealing with an incredibly high risk population as is, that has 1.5 million different challenges, we're now in this situation where like we have to take these additional precautions, which it's like a whole nother level of complication. Yeah, it's getting crazy for sure.
It definitely is. And I also think like you're sort of like dealing with the stigma involved that's like tied to addiction in the sense that like everyone's like, oh, well, they're, homeless junkies, right? So like there's no way that they're concerned about this. But it's very much so similar in dealing with someone who's struggling with, severe mental health, and in a lot of cases they might be, that like they just might not have the means to, and they're trying to get off of the street in order to get somewhere safe. And if you're able to provide that for someone, while also helping them sort of start walking down the path towards recovery, I think that makes a world of a difference to people who are used to just hearing, no, like we don't want to help you.
Sure.
Yeah, it's been interesting when you're talking about like the fluidity. It's been really cool to see, like kind of like a silver lining I've been taking from it. It's been really cool to see how adaptable like everyone's been. I mean, we've talked about it here on the podcast a little bit, but like if you go from going from meetings that moved online, podcasts like this, like I've seen, all the podcast people I follow are doing the same thing that we're doing right now. So it's been really cool to see that everyone's
even like Trevor Noah, and who are some of the late night guys that I watch?
Yeah,
Trevor Noah,
like from home.
Alan, John Oliver.
Yeah, John Oliver. Like they're all, what I mean? Everybody's recording off their cell phone and sending the file over to to have it edited.
Yeah, kind of evens the playing field a little bit.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, Mike. And Brian, I'm interested to see how you'll respond too. So for those who don't know, Brian recently went back to the golf course for a little while, which I think has been good. It's probably nice to be like walking around outside during the day.
It's fantastic.
So the CDC yesterday recommended it's not mandatory, but it's recommended that everybody wears at least some sort of cloth face mask when they're out in public. So whether that's like a bandana, handkerchief, you put your t-shirt up around your mouth when you walk around, like whatever it may be. Is that something that, Brian, you're going to have like a bandana at work? And Mike, I don't know how close, are you guys still going in?
No, I've been working from home. I work remotely.
You have? Okay, yeah. Cool. So is that something, Brian, you're going to do? You think wear masks when you're out and about, or what?
Yeah, so we've done a couple different things so far. Like when I started at the course, we were all coming in at the same time. But this was 2 weeks ago, and then we switched to a crew. Half the crew would come in at 7, half the crew would come in at 8, and that way you staggered like the start time, so not everyone was in the shop at the same time.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Then not everyone was at lunch at the same time either. So people would take lunch at 11, people would take lunch at 12. Then we would never have more than like 2 or 3 people working in the same general area. Just from the nature of that work, like sometimes you have to have some people,
sure.
If you're blowing off a green that's 8,000 square feet, like you can be far enough apart but still working together,
Sure.
And starting next week, well, I guess starting on Monday, we're going to be working every other day. So that's kind of like another thing that he did. And so instead of having the split schedules, we just split days. We're all each going to work like, 3 10 or 12-hour days, and then like a 4-hour day on Saturday or Sunday. But I guess that was a long answer to your question to wear a mask.
No, that's good. It's good to know.
Yeah. You keep shaking your phone, so it doesn't it's not changing the who's hot on the screen, who's live.
Yeah, I'm having trouble over here.
Yeah. I'm gonna see if I can switch it to the other view.
It's so much easier for me over here when you just
when I just do everything.
When you just set everything up and then I sit down and talk, it's so much easier.
Oh man. But to answer your question, yeah, I mean, if it's suggested that I wear a mask, like I guess I'll get like a bandana or a scarf or something like that. My girlfriend ordered some KN95s, which are not as good as the N95 mask, but like a good second best. So I think when she gets those in, I'll probably go pick some up from her house. The thing that I've been
I like the bandana look.
Yeah, the Desperado, the
Marlboro Man look, yeah.
Yeah, the thing that I keep thinking about is like, they say bandana today. Well, what's it going to be like in a week? Like everything has changed so much, so.
I do think that this whole thing is going to make people start like at least being a little bit more conscious of the fact of how quickly germs spread, how like careless and reckless. Like I noticed, like I'm going into like food shop and I'm like paying attention to every single thing I touch. Normally when I would food shop back in the past, like I'm picking things up going, do I want this? I'm not touching anything. So I do think people are definitely going to be more conscious about like just little things like that.
Yeah, I think it's going to contribute to some like kind of paranoia generation. Like, I mean, I had grandparents and great-grandparents that were like, children and young adults during the Depression. And like, they didn't use banks. They were hiding money and mattresses and walls and all other sorts of stuff like that. Like that same philosophy, I think depending on how much more severe that this gets, that could have like a similar effect on us.
My prediction is that we're locked in until June. Yeah, I was.
Yeah, you've been telling me that for a couple of weeks too.
Yeah, just based on what I've been seeing and paying attention to and everything. I also so I was talking to one of our residents, and he said that he thought everything was gonna get locked down, grocery stores included. But I said to him, like, we're so far from that. Like, there's so much that could get shut down before we get to the point of grocery stores and pharmacies shutting down. And if grocery stores and pharmacies shut down, we would have a widespread panic. It would be complete disaster. And I think, quite honestly, there would be more problems. There'd be way more problems if that happened than not. I mean, like down here, and you guys are, like Mike, you've got a Dunkin' Donuts in your hand. Like Dunkin' Donuts is not essential. Like I drove by last night. Well, but seriously, if you think about, right, like what they could still shut down,
Right.
right,
Okay.
like, and I get it. I mean, I haven't had a Starbucks Nitro Brew in 3 weeks, and I'm starting to freak out about it. But essential. Like last night, I went out and picked up dinner, and like there was definitely less traffic on the road on a Friday night at 6 o'clock than normal.
Where'd you get food?
Nizams.
Shocker.
Always support Nizams.
No free ads. No free ads.
Yeah. But it's like down here, and I'm sure it's the same everywhere else. Like I drove by, so I was going out to Nizams, and I had to go to the ATM, and I swung by this everything 79 cents store. Now, I don't know if you've ever been. I don't know if you've ever been in the everything 79 cents store, but talk about a bunch of shit. Like, it's basically trash they're trying to sell for 79 cents or less. That is not essential. And not for nothing, it looked as if the parking lot was full and people were in the store. And like, I you know what I mean? I think there's so much, there was a line a mile long at over here in Summers Point at the McDonald's yesterday and Dunkin' Donuts. We still have landscapers landscaping, house builders house building, golf course guys doing golf course stuff. Like there's so much stuff that could still get shut down before we go into 100% lockdown.
Yeah.
I was at Walmart yesterday, and there was a gentleman who, and I don't know, but he looked like he was over 60, which makes him high risk, buying a 60-inch TV.
Yeah.
Like, is that a necessary trip you need to be making?
Let me tell you, the absolute last fucking place in the United States of America I would go right now is a Walmart.
Yeah, believe me, if I could go food shopping somewhere cheaper, I would. But some place that I went to taught me to budget.
Yeah.
And
Walmart is the spot for that. Where's been really good, and I don't know how many people are paying attention to this type of stuff, the produce stores. So like Produce Junction, Santori's, not necessarily in the afternoon or after work, but like right when they open up in the morning, people are able to get in, get out, very, very minimal staff. Stuff for some of the older folks who are watching this to listen to might want to minimize trips, get out there early, and not touch people. What I also like about the produce stores versus like your Walmarts, ShopRites, Acme, is that most of the vegetables are bagged. So, right, like when you think about picking up like an apple and looking at it, do I want this one or the bunch of bananas? Bananas aren't, but you can just grab like a bag of tomatoes and run for the door. You don't have to get bags and play that game, which is nice. It minimizes all that touching. So, it's pretty good in terms of that. So,
yeah, I mean, also though, so like Brian was saying earlier with the silver lining, it is unique in the fact that like, I know that there was some panic when Spanish influenza went around and all of that. And to be in the day and age that we're in now, like for example, last week on Friday, my family did like a Zoom meeting, like happy hour thing where like it was like my mom, my stepfather, two of my aunts and uncles, my cousin and her fiance, my sister, like, and I was able to see them. Like, I was just on the phone with my sister last night. Like, I miss my family. I just miss like human interaction that's like face to face. And like, we are able to at least like I would say satiate that, to some degree. Even it's not
Sure.
like, I can't like go hug my mom, which I'm also not like a child. Like I'll be okay, but like,
But no, but it is. It's like, I talked to my grandmother yesterday. I know what you're saying. It's like, we typically want what we can't have, right? And it's like,
well, like, I
and
noticed there are
now,
people that are struggling with like who like in the past like weren't working out regularly, and then the second the CDC's like don't go outside, they're like I'm gonna start running. And you're like, why?
yeah, I know.
Yeah, I always see. I drive home through like Summers Point, Longport, Margate, and I see like way more people running than I've ever seen run before on like Atlantic Ave.
Well, and it goes back to what we talked about last week too, though. Like how, and not that like a couple days of running is going to fix the problem, but a huge part of this problem is directly correlational to chronic disease, right? Obesity, diabetes, heart disease.
Mhm.
The folks that are suffering the worst all have chronic disease. It's the sedentary folks who sit around and eat too many carbs. Would I also
I think that's why people are running though.
No, I think now it's like, now again, it's like, oh, well, I've been inside watching TV so much now, I should go run, or I should
Yeah,
try to
people are
get in
doing stuff
shape, or
they wouldn't normally do.
yeah, I'll use this opportunity to get in shape versus, I want to pay attention to my health overall, and I want to be in shape so I am healthy type of thing.
Well, like for example, I call my sponsor. I live close to the beach, so I walk down to the boardwalk when I call my
Sure.
sponsor because,
Yeah.
like, one, it's like an excuse to get out of the house.
Get a little privacy too, right?
Yeah, and yeah, I have 10 roommates in a house. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a silver lining to that too, because my
Sure.
sister spent 21 days alone in her apartment, and I
Yeah.
talked to her on the phone. It was like talking to someone
She's
from
in Boston.
Oh, that's my other sister. She's been at home. She's got my young niece. My one sister lives in Jersey City.
Got it.
Yeah,
So
and
she's on super lockdown.
yeah, so she's actually now. My dad went down to Florida, so he's down there for the foreseeable future. And my sister is at his house now because she's still alone, but like there's a cat there, so
Yeah.
she's got like some sort of like tangible interaction.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was in her apartment for 21 days, and she was going crazy.
Dude, it's crazy. Like, because when this all first happened, like I started saying that to the guys at Surfside, like, you have no idea how lucky you are right now. And they still, it's like, we all as human beings, we get in our focused little bubble of like, this is my world and it's only my world and everything's coming down around me. But, when we can start to like look out, like I posted something on Instagram I read on the Morning Brew. There's, and now it's coming out, there's like more than one, but there's basically, a cruise ship, not a non-American cruise ship. It's got 6,000 people on it. They're stuck on this freaking ship by themselves. They're not allowed off. No ports, because they're not American citizens. No ports are letting them come onto America because America is basically saying, and rightfully so, like I'm not one of these folks who's like against people moving to America, but like basically what they're saying is like, you can't come aboard because right now we don't have enough room for our own people in the hospital.
Right.
So like you guys got to like turn around and go somewhere else. But like their own countries are saying like, no, you guys got to stay on the boat. So they're getting quarantined to their rooms, right? So they're in these like little, twin bed cruise ship rooms and not allowed to leave their rooms. Like I couldn't even imagine. I mean, I'm so grateful that I got a little bit of a backyard and, a garage to putz around in and just, a dog to, mess with.
That focus like on your own little world, like you're talking about, like as human beings, everyone does it. But
yeah,
especially I find, and this was taught to me, like as addicts, are like we hyper focus on that. Like everything is very much so, centered around us and like our discomfort. So it definitely. I mean, like I've already like had some struggles with that. Being with as many roommates as I have, and they're all in recovery, and like the kitchen being dirty,
Yeah.
and being like it's such a
There's
fix,
nothing
like
that
just
irritates me more about a sober house
Yeah.
than the kitchen.
yeah. Well, our house is very nice, especially now. Like we have a good group of guys here, and
Yeah.
everyone's like been really,
Solid.
in. But I got annoyed, and then like I realized I'm stuck in a house, and like I called my sponsor, and I hashed it out and everything. But like it was definitely like I started realizing like, oh, like this is going to be something that needs to be
An adjustment. This is real.
Yeah,
This is like, yeah, this is our world for a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
100%.
This is not
what's fun is that I've been dying to do a puzzle.
Oh, really?
And of course, yeah, and of course I don't have any.
Oh, you got to call my mom, man. She's done like three or four like 1,000-piece puzzles already.
Best
Really?
thing I ever
I've done a
did.
puzzle my adult life, ever.
Best thing I did was I bought a Nintendo Switch.
Oh, sick, dude.
Wait, I haven't had a video game system since I was 16 years old. And I spent the other morning, I woke up at like 7:30 and for 2 hours played Zelda Breath of the Wild. First of all, I like accomplished so much in the game, put it down, and I go, I've accomplished nothing today. Literally nothing. And it was a weird thing because when you're doing it, you get the endorphins of like, look at all these things I've done. And then I put it down. I was like, I need to like get up and like do something.
Productive. Yeah, all the guys at the house got me.
Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, all the guys at the house got me. They're all playing this Call of Duty mobile game, which is awesome. It's like probably the best cell phone game I've ever played. And I haven't had I was 18 when I got rid of my Xbox, so I haven't like really played any video games since then. And I usually play for maybe a half hour every other day.
There are some pros to take out of this that like I've been trying, because I'm trying to focus on the positive, because you guys both know, but obviously the people listening don't really know me. I can spiral real quick. And so like I'm not driving to work, so I save money on gas. When I was working, I ate out a lot because I was like just between going to Surfside and working with my sponsees, taking them like out to breakfast to get them out of the house while I'm at work. I just didn't make time, or like going to the gym. Like I didn't make time to go food shop. So I've been food shopping, cooking a lot. I ate vegan tacos last night, which were actually incredible.
Nice.
And like, I know, Brian.
Whose idea was that?
Friend, who do you think? It wasn't me. So
Was it the Barefoot Bandit?
Yeah.
It wasn't? Nice.
Barefoot Bandit.
What a nickname, by the way.
You both know exactly who I'm talking about.
Oh my
God. In that respect, that's something I'll continue doing just based on the money like I've saved. So I've been getting what I did for Christmas, which was a rare thing for me in general, was I got ahead on bills so that when Thanksgiving and Christmas came around, I was able to travel to see my family on my own dime. I was able to, get Christmas gifts and participate in Christmas for the first time. At like, slightly over a year sober. That's a big deal for me. And so I'm trying to do that now so that when this all, hopefully
flows over, yeah,
I can take advantage of the fact that I'm allowed to leave my house and go travel and see family. And like I booked a flight for May 8th to go to Dallas. A band that I'm really into is playing down there, and my buddy is getting his doctorate in neuroscience down there. so I said I was going to go visit him, and we were going to go
You
to this
didn't, you didn't tell me the Backstreet Boys were playing.
Yeah, no. Actually, you sent me the email about their VIP concert. But no, it's yeah. No, so like that's all stuff that I wouldn't been able to do without being sober. And the only reason I'm sober is because of a lot of amazing people being put in my life. So I'm trying to like keep focused on that stuff. When I call my sponsor and stuff, it's a lot of things that I'm just grateful for, you know, and it is nice that like we live in a day and age where we have the technology to stay in contact, as opposed to like, can you imagine if this happened like when you had to like send mail? First of all, I haven't written a piece of mail. I don't think I've ever written a piece of mail.
I did a whole bunch yesterday.
Yeah, but
The only thing I ever write a check for is for my rent.
oh, I don't even do that. Well, I do money orders, but no.
Well, all right.
I think that sums it up.
Yeah, I think that sums it up. That's good. We got to get on that other one too.
Yeah, we got another show we're recording today. Kelly, thanks so much for your time. Love you, buddy.
Mike, love you.
Love you
Keep
guys.
up the good work.
Stay
Keep those guys in shape over there.
I'm trying.
All right.
Peace out.
Thanks, dude.
Take it easy, guys. Be safe.
As always, if you or someone you know is struggling, please reach out to Surfside. You can give us a call at 609-709-4205 or get us on the web at surfside.org.